What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and if this is your first time joining us, we are currently covering the Kiss discography, and today we are touching on the album that dropped the membership of the Kiss Army like no other, and that is Dynasty. Now, completely transparent, this is an album that I did not grow up listening to. I always stopped at Love Gun because my dad always stopped at Love Gun. You got to think, and for a lot of people in this time, he was 15, 16 when this album came out. So you're going from Love Gun, and at the same time, this comes out, you also can have Van Halen, AC/DC's kicking off. Everything's doing big sounds, hard rock. You're a teenager with angst, and then you have to hear Paul Stanley do. There's no way that's what you'd be into. So I get it. And growing up, it was Love Gun, and then I never heard anything past that. It was Love Gun and Ace's solo album. The other solo albums were not good. The other stuff, not good. So I never branched out and listened to it. I just listened to what was on. Grew up loving 70s Kiss. But as I got older, I branched out and I listened to all their other albums. And that's the beauty about being alive when it's not fresh and hot. When it's the new thing coming out and it's not what you want it to be, this album is going to ruffle your feathers. But when I'm 30, 40 years removed from it, and I can sit back and go, I like this, I don't like this, music's evolved and changed since then, it's not going to have such a heart-wrenching effect on me, which brings me to my number 9 song, the worst on the album, and they get a lot of flack for being a disco album, and they always talk about I Was Made for Loving You, but I feel like this song has more of a disco vibe to it, and that is Dirty Livin'. I have no positive to say about it. I just don't care for it. Kind of tying into my number 8 is what I said about number 9. That was I Was Made for Loving You. I know that was the big hit, and it's not because it's it's disco Kiss. That's why I hate it. I just don't like the song. It's just not one I care for. You got Paul hitting high notes, which, as you'll find as this series goes on in these next coming albums, it's not usually my thing. It really is a vibe change. My number 7 is Magic Touch, and this is where you're getting a Kiss feel. The other 2 songs really not the Kiss that I want to hear, but you're getting a feel of what Kiss was doing at that time with Magic Touch. Nothing special about it. But it's definitely a step up from those other 2, kind of a breath of fresh air on this album. And we hit our number 6, which we found with all the other albums. 6 is usually my middle ground breaking point on good and bad, and that sure knows something. And this is a softer hit, a more poppy hit. It's not in the Kiss vein. It's a little, I wouldn't say disco-y, but it's not Kiss, but it's not a bad song either. It's catchy. It's one of the songs that I do love when they do acoustic. It fits well with Paul. Big fan of Sure Knows Something. It's kind of out of place on this album, but Kiss always has an out-of-place song on their bigger albums. You had Great Expectations, then She Kissed Me. So there's always something that's kind of out of place that fits, and this is one of them. But going into my top 5 is Save Your Love. And this album was a lot more Ace-heavy, and it makes sense because when they went solo, he had the most success. And I find that Ace and Gene flip for me. I like Gene, Kiss-wise, hate his solo stuff. Ace and Kiss, don't really care for, but solo, I love his solo stuff. Separately away from Kiss. I get that they're not too far apart from each other, but when I hear a Gene song, a heavy Gene song, I go, that's what I expected from his solo album. Then you hear a solo, I hate it. Ace, when he's in Kiss, it just doesn't seem like he's doing all that he wants to do with it, but when it's solo, like you get Ozone, dude, I love that song. But so you get a lot more Ace in this Kiss album, and it's not bad, but I think it's a shell of what his solo album was. Save Your Love, number 5. Number 4, continuing on, Hard Times. A lot of good riffs on this album, a lot of just chunky, solid rock riffs. You get a lot of that from Ace. He is, of course, singing a lot of these songs on this album, but collectively, I would say this is some of the best guitar sounds and tone from the rest of the albums that they've done so far. This one has some strong ones. Going into my top 3, and this is a cover and that is 2000 Man, and eerily that song speaks to what life is today, about falling in love with a random computer. But this is, in my opinion, Ace's strongest performance on this album. Sometimes his lyrics can kind of be a little hokier, his delivery doesn't fit right, it doesn't flow right, it's kind of spoken out rather than sang, and for some things I don't like the way that comes off, but for this song, it fits perfectly with how he delivers lines. But we've got two left, guys, and that is between X-Ray Eyes and Charisma. And number 2, Charisma. It's not the most kissed song, but it is catchy as hell. And I find myself singing that chorus all the time to Charisma. It's catchy. It's got a nice little bass line to it, nice little beat to it. That's the best. It's just so catchy. I cannot get it out of my head. But number 1 is a song that I was talking about Gene's solo album earlier for a specific reason, and it is this track. Because this track is what I would expect a Gene solo album to be if you presented it to me at face value. This song is one of Gene's best. It goes up there with God of Thunder. It goes up there with Dr. Love. When you just get solo Gene performances, X-Ray Eyes is an amazing song that gets overlooked because this is the, quote, Kiss disco album. But this, if it's on any other Kiss album before this one, gets praise. It is a strong song, good song, great Gene performance, encapsulates him completely, and it doesn't get the rub it deserves. But that's why I'm giving it some rub now, baby. That's my number 1 off Dynasty. Did you like this album? Were you a kid when it came out? Did you hate this album? Put it all down below. Let me know your ranking. We got some more Kiss albums coming. If you want more content, check out the channel. Like, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. Go check out Sean Blumenshine. He knows way more about Kiss than I do. He's linked down below. You guys are the best. Peace.